everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha and today I'm going to be hauling a whole bunch of books. So we already know this, but book buying is also a hobby of mine, and I have 25 books here today to haul. Some of them I got at Half Price Books, the first time that I ever went to Half Price Books, and I really enjoyed it, and I'll definitely be back. And then the rest of the books are either like random purchases from Amazon or from my book outlet haul. So I have some young adult and adult books, and I also have a whole lot of middle grade books. So I'm gonna go ahead and split this video into two different sections. That way, if you'd prefer to just see the adult or young adult books, you can, or if you'd rather see the middle grade books, or you can stay and watch the whole video. That's always nice too. But I'm gonna go ahead and split that up, but let's just go ahead and jump into the haul. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the adult and young adult books. The first one that I have is One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. I read this earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year. Actually, it may have been last year. It was last year. Wow. Okay. This was one of my favorite books of last year though. And I really, really loved it. It's basically like a plus size bachelor or bachelorette, and I really enjoyed this one. So this follows B. Schumacher, and she is a plus size fashion blogger who has amazing friends, a devoted family, legions of Insta followers, and a massively broken heart. So she is experiencing a breakup, and she ends up going on this, so she trashes this like bachelorette type show called Main Squeeze in her blog. And then she ends up getting offered the opportunity to come on there. And so she goes on there, and like I said before, it's basically like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, maybe less drama, maybe not. But if you like that kind of thing, this is definitely something to check out. I didn't know if I was gonna like it or not, but I absolutely loved it. I just really loved this story. It was very fast paced. I just loved a lot about it, basically everything about it. I gave it 5 stars, and I really wanted to own this one. I've been looking for it, and I finally got a copy. It is a Target Club Pick copy, which I'm not crazy about when books have that on there, but it's signed. So I'm not complaining about that. The next book I got, I also already read. I read this last year around Christmas time, and it is In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. This would also be a good time to go ahead and recommend it to you guys since we are approaching Christmas season again. This is a really sweet story about our main character named Malin Jones. It's been a while since I've read it, so I'm going to go ahead and let you know a little bit about the synopsis. So May is living with her parents. She hates her going nowhere job and has just made a romantic error of epic proportions. But perhaps worst of all, this is the last Christmas May will be at her favorite place in the world, the snowy Utah cabin where she and her family have spent the holidays every year since she was born, along with 2 other beloved families. Mentally melting down as she drives away from the cabin for the final time, May throws out what she thinks is a simple plea to the universe. Please show me what will make me happy. The next thing she knows, tires screech and metal collides, everything goes black. But when May gasps awake, she's on an airplane bound for Utah, where she begins the same holiday all over again. With one hilarious disaster after another sending her back to the plane, May must figure out how to break free of the strange time loop and finally get her true love under the mistletoe. So this is basically like a Groundhog Day situation. It's a rom-com. I loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars when I read it. Obviously, I loved it enough to want to own it. Christina Lauren, I just love their writing style. But the only thing I don't like, just as a fair warning to everybody based on your reading taste with romances, I tend to like lighter romances. I don't want smut. I don't read romances for the smut aspect. And Christina Lauren, 2 things to know about them. 1, they use the word growl a lot. And 2, there are instances of smut in their books, but it's not overbearing. In this one, I feel like the smut was unnecessary. I didn't feel like it was needed to make the story great, and I honestly probably would have rated it 5 stars had it not been for the smut. I've also read Love in Other Words, which I have up here on my shelves by Christina Lauren. Absolutely loved that book as well, but there was some smut there, but it's very minimal. So just know that going in with your romances, if you don't like smut or if you do like smut, it's very minimal. I don't want to say it's tastefully done because smut is not really tasteful, I don't think, but it's not overly excessive, and it didn't deter me from reading anything else from this author or from these authors. And so I had to get In a Holidays because I loved it so much last year, and I'll probably reread it again in the future. And I have one last book that I already read, And you guys, I have gone back and forth on whether or not I wanted to own this book because it's bizarre. You guys are going to know what it is. It's bizarre, it's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's not appropriate at times. And I was like, I don't want to own this. Like, what if I have kids one day and they pick this book up, they see the cute little bunny on it and think, oh my gosh, mama, read this to me. Or I want to read this book. No. No. But I convinced myself this book has impacted me. Like, it just has. It's unforgettable. It's bizarre. I would not recommend this to most people. It's a very specific audience, but if you like horror and really bizarre, weird stories that you don't really know what's going on, but that have really cool symbolism and underlying messages as well, then maybe pick up Bunny by Mona Awad. I had to pick it up because it impacted me when I read it, and I've been thinking about it ever since. It's one that always comes back around, and it's one that I would probably reread in the future, just to be honest. So, no going in, this is kind of like a rated R book because it's just bizarre and weird and yeah, but it was impactful. So I have it, I'll read it again in the future. Yeah, Bunny. Next up, I got a couple of classics. I know what you're thinking. Keisha got classics? Yes, I did. 2 classics. And I think, Ashley, if you're watching, you know who I'm talking about. You'll be proud of me. You'll probably be really excited. I feel like you're going to try to convince me to read this over the next year. But I got Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And I also got Dracula by Bram Stoker. Y'all tell me how to pronounce that. I have no idea. So I got these. These editions are paper mill press editions. They are absolutely beautiful. They're like cloth bound. They've got, well, I thought they had really pretty end papers. I mean, they do. That's a really pretty green. But yeah, so they are just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I've never read Frankenstein or Dracula. I feel like I would be more likely to read Frankenstein because, you know, the length. And I feel like I would like this story more, but I wanted to get Dracula too just because I feel like I need to read these. And I feel like I don't like classics. I'm not a huge Jane Austen person. I do like To Kill a Mockingbird and Lord of the Flies. And I like spooky, creepy books. So I was like, you know, maybe I can read these and enjoy them. So I did get them. I don't know when I'm going to read them, but they are on my shelves now. So, you know, I'm a little bit more likely to pick them up. The next book I got is another Christina Lauren book, and it's called The House. Now, this is one of those situations where I don't really know a lot about the book, but it piqued my interest. It was by Christina Lauren, and I love their romances. And this is kind of, I think, maybe like a paranormal romance or just like a thrillery mystery type romance. It says he's always dressed in black, his head down, and shaggy black hair falls into his eyes. Oh, wait, that's an excerpt. Is there like a synopsis in here? Okay, I don't see a synopsis, but this is like an excerpt. But maybe this will entice you. I don't know. Let's see. He's always dressed in black. His head down and shaggy black hair falls into his eyes. But when Gavin looks up at Delilah, his dark eyes, shadowed with bluish circles, seem to flicker to life. Her lifelong fascination with him has been a mixture of longing and bear-like protectiveness because he lives in that house, the one at the edge of town. Spooky and maybe haunted, Delilah thinks it might be something worse than haunted. Gavin tells Delilah he's hers completely, but whatever lives with him inside that house disagrees. So, I don't know, this just sounded spooky, and it honestly, I don't think it has great ratings, and I've never heard anybody talk about this, but I like Christina Lauren's other books, and I like spooky stuff and mysteries, so I picked it up. Next, I actually pre-ordered You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his last name, but I read this recently. And I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say much, but I did really like it. So basically, the whole premise of this book is you've got Sam and you've got Julie. Julie and Sam are dating in high school, and Sam ends up dying. Julie obviously is experiencing grief. She's devastated, and she wants to call Sam's cell phone just to hear his voicemail one more time. However, Sam actually picks up the phone. So now Julie has this connection with Sam in the afterlife, I guess, because Sam is dead, and she is getting to communicate with him and get the opportunity to say goodbye, but none of his other family know that she's talking to him. None of her family or friends or anybody knows what's going on, and she's like having to keep this a secret so she can maintain this connection with him. This is so good. I don't want to say because I need to do a review of it, but like the exploration of grief in this, which is the main thing, is just like, pick this up. It's so good. I'm not going to say anything else. It was well worth it. Also, this cover is gorgeous. And the naked cover, like, marketing these days, it's just done very well. Next up, I picked up a Christmas book. This is 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. So I heard about this a few years ago, and I wasn't crazy about the cover, which I don't know why. At this point now, I think it's cute. But I'm not always crazy about like real people on covers, so that may have been it. But I just wasn't that interested. But then I kept hearing about it, and now I'm interested. I mean, I don't know why. Like, now that nobody talks about it, I'm interested. But this is about a girl named Sophie. Yeah. And Sophie is dating Griffin, and Sophie has overprotective parents, and Sophie's like, forget my parents this holiday season. I want some privacy. I'm going to spend some time making out with my boyfriend. But Griffin wants some space of his own. So her and Griffin part ways, and Sophie ends up going with her family to southern Louisiana for a family Christmas gathering. And funnily enough, her grandmother, it's her grandmother, decides that she's going to set her up on 10 blind dates over this Christmas holiday. So Sophie gets set up with 10 different dates from 10 different family members. I think it's 10 different family members. I just know that different family members set her up. And so she goes on these dates, and then Griffin comes back begging her to take him back. But has she fallen in love with one of these 10 blind dates, or is she going to take Griffin back? I don't know, but that sounds so good. I'm going to buddy read this with Lauren in December, and I'm so excited. By the way, Lauren from Lauren Love Reads, if you don't follow her, you need to. She's super sweet. She's an awesome person. I'm going to leave her link down below. But anyways, I'm so excited to read this. This is like top priority for Christmas season, so I had to pick it up. Another book that I picked up is The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I've held off on picking this one up because I wasn't sure if I wanted to own it or not, but I own The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I think it's 7.5 in some countries and some places. But anyways, same book. I really liked that book. I thought that it is kind of slower paced, but I thought the mystery was really well done, and I was intrigued by it. And so I decided to pick up Stuart Turton's other book. I've heard good things about this one as well. I'm hoping it's better than the first one. Not that the first one was bad, but it's so thick and intimidating. Like, I just don't know. I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I did want to make sure I picked up another one of his books. I don't really know what this one's about. It says, A Murder on the High Seas, a detective duo, a demon who may or may not exist. I mean, it sounds interesting. It's 1634, and Samuel Pepys, the world's greatest detective, is being transported to Amsterdam to be executed for a crime he may or may not have committed. Traveling with him is his loyal bodyguard, Arent Hayes. Arent? These names. I'm not good with names. Who's determined to prove his friend innocent. Among the other guests is Sarah Wessel, a noble woman with a secret. But no sooner is their ship out to sea than devilry begins to blight the voyage. A strange symbol appears on the sail. A dead leper stalks the decks. Livestock dies in the night. And then the passengers hear a terrible voice whispering to them in the darkness, promising 3 unholy miracles, followed by a slaughter. First, an impossible pursuit. Second, an impossible theft. And third, an impossible murder. Could a demon be responsible for their misfortunes? With Pepys imprisoned, only Arent and Sarah can solve a mystery that stretches back into their past and now threatens to sink the ship, killing everybody on board. So, I don't know. It sounds interesting. Hopefully, I will like it as much as I enjoyed the first one. Now we're going to get into the middle grade books that I got. So first, I finally got all of the series of Unfortunate Events books. So I've got The Hostile Hospital, which is book 8, and The Grim Grotto, which is book 11. So now I have finally collected all 13 of a series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket books. And now I can start my read of them. I really want to vlog it, but I don't know if I will. I don't know. It'll probably be like a new year before I even think about doing it. But I have all of them now, so I'm super excited about that. Another book that I got is The Box Trolls. This is a novel by Elizabeth Cody Kimmel, and it is based on the movie The Box Trolls. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie, but I would highly recommend it, especially if you like stop motion animation and just really good, heartwarming, heartfelt, heartbreaking, all the heart feels stories. So this story follows Eggs, which this is Eggs, and the Box Trolls. And Eggs was raised by the box Trolls. That's hard to say. They live under Cheesebridge. I know this all sounds really hokey, but like it's so good. And they live under Cheesebridge. And human legend has it the creatures of like these box trolls are carnivorous monsters. but they're really just misunderstood oddballs. So it takes Winnie, this girl, here's Winnie. It takes Winnie coming through to kind of show what really matters, what it means to be human, that kind of thing. So this is a really good story. Now, this is a middle grade, but the movie, I feel like adults would enjoy this more because it's kind of dark and it has a really good message. I don't feel like kids would get it, maybe older kids, but either way, I'm really excited to read this one. I loved the movie. I know this is like a novelization of the movie and I don't typically go for that kind of thing, but I thought this was so good and I really wanted to read it. The next book that I got is Sputnik's Guide to Life on Earth by Frank Cottrell Boyce. I know nothing about this book, but this title and the whole like boy and his dog thing kind of got me. But let me read the synopsis to you because this sounds so interesting. Prez knows that the best way to keep track of things is to make a list. That's important when you have a grandfather who is constantly forgetting, and it's even more important when your grandfather can't care for you anymore and you have to go live with a foster family out in the country. Prez is still learning to fit in at his new home when he answers the door to meet Sputnik, a kid who is more than a little strange. First, he can hear what Prez is thinking. Second, he looks like a dog to everyone except Prez. Third, he can manipulate the laws of space and time. Sputnik, it turns out, is an alien, and he's got a mission that requires Prez's help. The Earth has been marked for destruction, and the only way they can stop it is to come up with 10 reasons why the planet should be saved. Thus begins an adventurous and unpredictable summer as they set out to compile the most important list Prez has ever made and discover just what makes our world so remarkable. I don't know. It just sounded cute, and I don't know when I'll get to it, but I had to own it, so I got it. I also picked up The Missing Piece of Charlie O'Reilly by Rebecca K.S. Ansari. This book sounds so good. It's about this boy named Charlie, and Charlie is an only child, but he actually remembers having a brother named Liam. He remembers they had bunk beds, and they used to kind of whisper and share secrets at night and laugh and cut up together. But now the bunk beds are gone, Liam is gone, and nobody else seems to know who Liam is. They've always remembered Charlie as an only child, but Charlie could swear he has a brother named Liam. The only person that believes him is his friend Anna, and Anna is determined just as much as Charlie is to figure out what happened to Liam. Then one day, Charlie ends up finding a letter that is written in Liam's handwriting, and they realize that there's some dark secrets here. I think there's some magic, and there's something to uncover here. So they have to find Liam before it's too late. This just sounds like a really cool, spooky, eerie, creepy mystery middle grade, which you guys know I love, so I had to pick this one up. Next up, I got Amelia Fang and the Barbaric Ball by Laura Ellen Anderson. I don't know why, this has just always looked really cute and creepy to me, so I had to pick this one up. It has lots of illustrations in it. I don't really know like what it's about or anything. I just thought like, look at the illustrations. Like, who wouldn't want this book? I think there's a lot of pictures in here. Let's see. Yeah, like look at that. Who would not want this? So it's Amelia Fang. She's a sparkly little vampire in a dark and gloomy world, and that is all I know. But it just looks adorable. It's the first book in a series. I don't know if I'll read any more in the series, but I decided that I would get this, I would read it, and if I liked it, I'll keep it, and if I don't, I'm gonna pass it along to my book club kiddos, because that's what I do. The next book that I got is 13s by Kate Alice Marshall. I don't know much about this, but it looks really spooky, and you guys know that I love my spooky middle grades, so I got this one. It says, the town is cursed, the clock is ticking, and they're next. So I think it's like every 13 years, 3 teenagers disappear. This is kind of like, I think it's an older middle grade, or maybe it's young adult because they're 13. No, they're not 13. Yeah, but 3 teenagers disappear. 3 13-year-olds. Wait, every 13 years in the town of Eden Eld, 3 13-year-olds disappear. Yeah, so I don't really know much about it, but I want to read the synopsis because it just makes it sound even better. So it says, Eleanor has just moved to the quiet, prosperous Eden Eld when she awakes to discover an ancient grandfather clock that she's never seen before outside her new room. She's sure her eyes must be playing tricks on her, but then she spots a large bird staring at her as she boards the school bus, and a black dog with glowing red eyes follows her around town. All she wants is to be normal, and these are far from normal. And worse, no one else can see them, except for her new friends Pip and Otto, who teach her a thing or two about surviving in Eden Eld. First, don't let the wrong things know you can see them. Second, don't speak of the wrong things to anyone else. The only other clue they have about these supernatural disturbances is a book of fairy tales unlike anything they've read before. It tells tales of the mysterious Mr. January, who struck a cursed deal with the town's founders. Every 13th Halloween, he will take 3 of their children who were never heard from again. It's up to our trio to break the curse because Edenel's 13 years are up, and Eleanor, Pip, and Otto are marked as his next sacrifices. So this just sounds kind of in the same vein as like Small Spaces and Ghost Girl and all the spooky books that I love. So I definitely want to check this one out. It looks so creepy. Like this guy back here, like, yeah, there's a wolf right here that looks creepy, but this guy right here with the red glowing eyes, like, super creepy. This just sounds so good. I'm probably gonna save it for next Halloween. Then I picked up Finally Something Mysterious by Doug Cornett. This is a story about the One and Onlys, which is a group of only children who band together and solve mysteries. But they live in a pretty boring town, and the mysteries they solve are kind of small, low-key, not super exciting, until one day they find like this yard or this field or something that is like covered in rubber duckies. And the authorities are like, it's just a prank, it's nothing serious, but the kids think there's something more here. So they end up finding out that their town is a little bit more interesting than they thought. I know that there are, let's see, it says there are wildfires raging, signs have started popping up saying the conquistador is coming, and the annual Bratwurst Bonanza is promising to deliver more than a few surprises. So maybe their little town is not so boring after all. This just sounded really cute. I like mysteries. I thought maybe I could share this with my middle grade book club as well. So I picked up Finally Something Mysterious because it sounded mysterious. Next up, I have One Last Shot by John David Anderson. This is also a signed first edition, which I did not know that I was getting. So that's always super fun when you get little surprises like that. So this is a story about a boy named Malcolm. And Malcolm has always felt like he has just been a disappointment to his parents. He never feels like he does anything right. His dad loves sports, and Malcolm is really just not into sports, and so he feels like he can't ever connect with his dad really well, until one day he decides that he loves mini golf. And Malcolm really gets into mini golf. It's something he enjoys, but then his dad ends up getting obsessed with mini golf and signs up Malcolm for lessons and enters him in tournaments. And so now it's like not as fun for Malcolm because his dad's trying to make like this whole big deal out of it, like he does with all the other sports. And so Malcolm really loves solving the puzzles of mini golf and kind of strategizing, and he ends up having to strategize a little bit in his own family because I think his parents are going to have a little bit of a rough patch, and he is going to try to bring his family back together. So this just sounds like a good story. I like the fact that it kind of revolves around mini golf a little bit too, because I haven't really read any middle grade books or books in general about mini golf, so I think that could be really fun. And it also has that hard-hitting family aspect as well, so I'm really excited to check this one out. Next up, I got The Great Pet Heist by Emily Egton, and this is a book that I got because I have what is the other book in the series called? It's like The Great Pet Escape. I don't know. It's something. I have the second book that's more of like a spooky book in the series. And so I wanted to pick up the first one because obviously I can't read the second one without reading the first one. And it's about Butterbean, who is a dachshund, and I have a dachshund, so obviously that's an appeal. And then you've got Oscar, Walt, and Marco and Polo, which I love that. And they are going to complete a heist to get some food, I think, because Butterbean accidentally like throws up on the floor and his owner slips on it and he's hurt and he's like, oh no, what if we can't be taken care of now? So let's go do a heist and get some food or something like that. It sounds really cute. I really want to read the second book in the series. That's why I picked up the first one, and so hopefully I will enjoy it. Okay, and next I have 3 books that are all about dragons. And I don't quite know how that happened, but apparently I'm about to be on a dragon kick. The first one is The Land of Roar by Jenny McLaughlin. Believing is just the beginning. This artwork is like, just look at that. Is that not? It's so pretty. And the end pages, like, we got to see that too. It's just really pretty. There's illustrations throughout. Obviously, you guys know I don't know much about this book, so I'm about to read through the synopsis, but it looks super interesting and super good, and I've heard a lot of people say that it's really good. It's the first book in a series, I think. Look at this fun. I mean, just, it's so pretty. So the synopsis says, when Arthur and Rose Trout were little, they were the heroes of Roar, an imaginary land they created together. Roar was full of their favorite things: ninja wizards, mermaids, unicorns, dragons, and fantastic places to explore and play. But it was also full of things that sent shivers down their spines. Now that they're 11, Rose would rather play on her phone than play games with Arthur, who can't resist teasing her every chance he gets, and they haven't visited or even thought about Roar in years. But when their grandfather suddenly vanishes, it looks like a villain who still looms in their nightmares has spirited him away to the magical land that the twins once loved. To rescue Granddad, Arthur and Rose must return to the world they'd nearly forgotten and once again become the masters of Roar. But when they get there, they find that Granddad isn't the only one who needs saving. So, this just sounds super cute and magical and whimsical, and I love the thought of like an imaginary place from when you were a kid, but then it like kind of becoming a real life thing. So this just sounds really cute, and obviously like there's a dragon on the cover, so there's gonna be a dragon in the book. Then I got Ember and the Ice Dragons. I got this because it's gonna be a potential, this is gonna be a spoiler if any of my middle grade kiddos are watching, but this is a potential book club pick for January because it's gonna be winter time, so I went ahead and got it. And I don't know much about this one either. Ember St. George is a dragon. At least she was before her adoptive father, a powerful but accident-prone magician, turned her into a human girl to save her life. Unfortunately, Ember's growing tendency to burst into flames at certain temperatures, not to mention her invisible wings, is making it too dangerous for her to stay in London. The solution: ship Ember off to her aunt's research station in frigid Antarctica. Though eccentric Aunt Myra takes getting used to, Ember quickly feels at home in this land of ice storms, mischievous penguins, and 24-hour nights. She even finds herself making friends with a girl genius called Nisha and a mysterious orphan named Moss. Then she discovers that Antarctica is home to the Winter Glass Hunt, a yearly tradition in which rare ice dragons are hunted for their jeweled scales. Furious, Ember decides to join the hunt to sabotage it from the inside. But being an undercover dragon isn't easy, especially among dragon hunters. Can a 12-year-old fire dragon survive the dangers that come her way in the Antarctic wilderness and protect the ice dragons from extinction? This just sounded like a cute winter story. Honestly, I'd forgotten that Ember was even a dragon. Like, I don't even know that much about this. I just thought it sounded really sweet. It sounds like a good fantasy story. I don't know why. It's probably just in my head. I've never read George R.R. Martin, but it sounds like something that would be in that realm of things, or like kind of, what is that? Why am I thinking, hold on, what am I thinking about? Maybe it's not George R.R. Martin. You guys probably know what I'm thinking about, but I think he's written some middle grade books that are kind of like, they sound like this. It may be The Ice Dragon. I don't know. But this just sounded like a cute fantasy, so I wanted to pick this one up. And then the last one that involves dragons is The Dragon Warrior by Katie Zhao. This sounded really good, and I really wanted to pick this one up. It's the first in the series. And it says, Farron Liu might just be the fabled heaven breaker if she can prove herself first. Born into San Francisco's exclusive Jade Society, Farron Liu longs to become a powerful warrior. Only problem, since their father disappeared, Farron and her brother Alex have been forbidden from training and must hone their skills in secret. When a real-life demon crashes the Lunar New Year parade in Chinatown, Farron helps to defeat it in battle. Soon after, a mysterious visitor interrupts the society celebration, proclaiming that the Heaven Breaker, a warrior destined to wield the legendary spear Feng Huang, and lead a dragon army against the demons, is among them. Could Farron be the one? To prove her worthiness, she must first find the gods' hidden island before the Lunar New Year ends. With Alex and other unlikely allies at her side, Farron embarks on a daring quest spanning many Chinatowns, where they'll encounter power-hungry deities and dangerous mythical creatures. Protecting humanity requires tough choices. What will Farron give up to claim her destiny? I think learning about like Chinese history and some folklore and stuff and mythology in this will be really interesting. That's something that like I really enjoyed, and this is so random, but I really enjoyed watching Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior on Disney Channel growing up. I watched a little bit of American Dragon Jake Long, but I've never really gotten much into like learning about Chinese culture. So I'm really excited to learn a little bit more and also enjoy this fantasy story. Next up, I have a couple of graphic novels. The first one is Carrie and the Night of the Forest by Andy Watson. I've already read this one. I think it was okay. It wasn't like my favorite thing in the world, but it was interesting to read. It was a good like quick read for just like kind of in between books. But it follows Carrie. He gets lost in this enchanted forest, and he meets the Knight of the Forest, who is going to help him get to safety. So that's basically it. I read this and I thought it was okay, but I think I'm probably going to pass it on to my middle grade kiddos, as well as this one, which is City of Secrets by Victoria Ying. This is also a graphic novel, and I actually got this with one of my kiddos in mind, so I'm not going to say names or anything because I don't want anybody to know, but I saw this and felt like somebody would like it. So I got it for them, but I read it because it looked interesting, and it's the first book in a graphic novel series. And it is about an orphan boy, a spunky girl, and a secret hidden in an amazing puzzle box of a building. The combination could save a whole city. So it's kind of like steampunky. So I don't know. It was really cute. I think it was a sweet story. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed like the different mechanisms and stuff that go on here. So yeah, that is City of Secrets. And the last book that I got, I'm so excited about this. I don't have children yet, but when I have children, like this is going to be a thing. So this is How Winston Delivered Christmas, an Advent story in 24 and a half chapters by Alex T. Smith. I told my husband that we're going to go through this and read this like every day this year, like for Advent, for Christmas. This is like the cutest book. Like even the naked hardcover is just so pretty. This is hard to show on camera because it's so big, but yeah, it's just the story about Winston. It says on Christmas Eve, Winston finds a letter to Santa Claus that didn't make it to the mailbox. He sets out on a very important mission to find Santa Claus and hand him the letter in time for Christmas Day. As Winston travels through the festive city, he meets some wonderful new friends, has very exciting adventures, and learns that a good deed can lead to a very happy ending. So you basically read through Winston's adventures, and every day, so like, let me show you. Hopefully you guys can see this. The illustrations in here are so pretty. So you've got like how to read this book, and then you've got all your days, which we're going to talk about that in a second. So you've got December 1st. So you read A Very Important Mission on December 1st. Then after you read that, you write a letter to Santa Claus. And then the next time you read, it's A Mysterious Flying Object. You're continuing on with Winston's story. And then after you finish that one, you make a Winston finger puppet. So there is an activity to do every day with this story. And I absolutely love that. I think this would be so great if you've got younger children. I found this on Amazon. It was just like really random. And like I said, I don't have kids yet, but I want to do this with my husband. We probably won't do all the activities, but I just want to read through it and then maybe experience it with our kids someday. So I had to pick this up. It was just so cute and cozy, and I absolutely loved it. All right, y'all, we are finally at the end of this very long book haul. I know I read a lot of synopses, so it took a little bit longer than expected. If you stuck around for the whole time, thank you so much. If you have read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts were in the comments, because that might help me move them like up on my TBR. And if you found any books you might be interested in, that's so awesome, because that's kind of why I like to watch book hauls, is because I can find books that I may not have heard about before, and then it gets me excited about them and I can add them to my list. So hopefully you found something here today to add to your list. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and end this video because it's been quite a long one. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.